make sure this all works. This is actually, I think it's about the third or fourth time I've done this, and like sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. So if the stream is going okay, then we're all good.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome to the channel, everyone. Those that are going to be watching as we go live, or if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for coming to this channel, and don't forget to click that like and subscribe buttons. Click the bell icon if you want to see more of my stuff, anywhere from all EV related and electric car related stuff, all the way to me being crazy on electric skateboards and everything electric in between, basically. Just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. You guys are really appreciated on every month when you provide a fee that helps the channel grow and helps the things like this and help me do more stuff, really. So a really good episode this week. So this week I am joined by Melanie from Zap Map. Hi, Melanie.
Hiya. Hi. Nice to be here.
Hi. You too. Thank you very much for joining the channel. It's been really good. I'm kind of I suppose reaching out to people that I've either never chatted with before or I've briefly seen at events and kind of wanted to as well. So I really appreciate you coming on the channel. So before we get started, or I suppose really, like I said, I want to keep this very light and kind of chatty and things like that. And for the guys out there, I'm not a techie type of person, but we just want to kind of have a look through Zap Map, see where it's come from, see where it's going, and if you're new to EVs especially, kind of focus on that to make sure that if there's things that you're not sure about, and Zap Map is, to me, is quite a key function of having an EV and owning an EV. It's one of many apps, however, it's probably one of the key apps that we have out there that helps people in terms of EV ownership. I'm going to go through a bit about that as well. So Melanie, for those that don't know Zap Map and what Zap Map is, what actually is it?
Well, Zap Map is a map of all the public charging points around the UK. So at the moment, there's 18,000 places or devices where you can public charge across 11,000 locations, and they're all in all sorts of different places: motorway service stations, hotels, car parks, attractions, National Trust properties, on street, lots of different locations. And all of those are mapped on Zap Map. You can use the app, it's free, and you can search and filter to find charge points that are suitable for your specific EV, plan your journeys using the route planner. And also the best bit about it is lots of people use it, so you can share updates and photos with other EV drivers.
Perfect. So I've been using Zap Map. I mean, I've had my car for probably about 2.5 years now, my i3, and Zap Map and probably one or two other applications is kind of something that was thrust upon me, like, you know, when like you bought an EV now, but it wasn't actually by the person that sold me the car. It was fellow EV owners at the time, and I kind of learned through, like most people, I think back 2.5 years ago, you generally stumble out into EV ownership sometimes.
Yeah.
So as this is if you're a newbie and like, you know, you've just gone into a showroom, you've picked up an electric car, most of what happens in showrooms that they don't tell you anything about how to charge it, what apps to use. I think they're getting better. I suppose why is Zap Map, do you think, essential for EV owners?
I mean, I think because we're a UK focused company, so we have been working in EV with Zap Map for the last 8 years. So we have developed it from the ground up, really with the EV driver in mind. So we're obviously EV drivers ourselves, and we thought about what we would want to know when we're going out on a journey. And I think the critical thing is that we estimate 97% of all public chargers on the map. So if you're looking, if you're out and about and you're looking for a charger, somewhere to charge, pretty sure we will have it on our app.
Sorry.
No, carry on.
That was the only good thing about streaming is that sometimes it misses. So if I suppose like with Zap Map, I've used that for journey planners and things like that. So where does that information come from? Is that dragged directly from the chargers? Is it static information? How does that
Yeah,
work? I suppose without going into the nitty gritty.
For the majority of the charge points, we have a link directly to the charge point network. So charge point network being someone like Polar or Ecotricity, PodPoint. And we have a direct relationship with the charge point operator. We have a data stream from them. We add charge points every day that they add onto their network, and then every 5 minutes we get an update of status updates. Is the charger available? Is it out of service, or is someone charging on it? So when you're looking at Zap Map, you should be able to see if you found somewhere you'd like to go, see if it looks like a good place to go. And then that information is then enhanced by the user base. So that's sort of the direct information direct from the network. But then in addition, we have 10,000 posts every month from our users saying, yeah, this is a good charger. Yeah, I charged fine yesterday. Ooh, there's a nice coffee shop nearby, or it's a little bit hidden. You might not be able to find it. It's on the first floor of the multi-story car park. So all of that information is also there sort of to enhance that direct data to give more of an experience.
And how does that those feedbacks that obviously people like myself add to Zap Map, how does that then influence maybe the actual charge location information? Does that then eventually feed into what that update for that particular post that says,
yes,
these multiple people feedback, it's difficult to find, or it has this? Does that then feed into eventually like almost a solid update for that charge post, or is it just people looking on those updates?
I mean, I think it's a bit of both. So one thing we've got is a location rating. So all locations which have a sufficient number of user updates, we will then give that location a rating from 1 to 5. So if you find a 5-star location, that means that there's been probably 95% of user posts have been positive. They said, yep, I've had a successful charge. It's all been good. And if you find a 1-star location, there's not many of them, but there are some. If you find a 1-star location, that means that when users go there, they have a bad experience. They can't charge. Maybe the power's cut out, or some issue, and that's sort of on an ongoing basis. So that's how we aggregate that user information.
Brilliant. Okay, no, that's good, because it obviously feeds into that better experience and the reason why people hopefully will keep coming back to the likes of Zap Map when they go on longer journeys.
And you can also just sort of scroll through, and I think people find it quite useful just to be able to quickly look through the chats at the location and sort of broadly see, oh, they're mainly green, or there's a bit of useful information in there. But yeah, then we aggregate it to the location rating.
Does any of that go back to the actual charge companies themselves to say, these couple of posts have, I don't know, multiple bad experiences, or they're at a level of 2 or 1, and does that then go back and that feedback directly back to the suppliers themselves, or?
Yes, so the ones that we have a direct API data relationship with, so that's 70% of charge points. We provide them back the data, all the data that someone makes a chat on a particular post, so that they then integrate that into their customer service, so they can see a report by a user of an issue. Because I think what we find, and you probably found it, that maybe the network is saying, oh, this charge point is working well, but actually when you get there might be an issue with a connector, or there might be some issue which the network can't pick up themselves. So it's a really good feedback loop. And the networks who use that information well will then post on that Zap chat, oh, yep, thanks, engineer scheduled for, whenever it is, in a week's time or a couple of days' time. So that's really good. I think that works really well when the networks do that. And I know that EV drivers really like that, because then they feel their information is being picked up.
Yeah, it gives that kind of, certainly I found with when I was a new kind of EV owner, it was almost that comfort blanket, somebody putting their arm around you and going, don't worry, I know you're new to this, but we've got you, type of approach. So that's good to know. So I suppose take me back to where Zap Map started. So for me, before I owned an EV, I'd never heard of Zap Map. I'm not sure whether I probably should have or shouldn't have done. So I suppose take me back to the history. Where did it start? And
Yeah, well, it started a while ago. My business partner Ben and I have another website called nextgreencar.com, which is a kind of car buyer's guide. And 10 years ago, we set that up. And really the idea of that was there were a lot of technologies around it. It was about trying to work out from an environmental perspective, comparing petrol cars, diesel cars, plug-in hybrids, CNG, LPG, electrics, and that, at that time it wasn't totally clear which was going to be sort of the winner, as it were. And then by 2012, after the Nissan Leaf had come out and a few other cars, it became clear to us that electric was going to be the winner. So then we thought, well, our website, EV drivers are going to need to know where these public charge points are. Let's create a map within Next Green Car. So we literally created a spreadsheet and manually added, there weren't many, but we manually added the ones that were there, and created a sort of Google map, put it up as a page in Next Green Car. And then really over the next couple of years, it became the most popular page on Next Green Car. So by 2014, 2015, we were getting people saying, look, why isn't this on an app? We need this information when we're out and about. And so we thought, yep, better do that. So we basically set Zap Map free, created its own URL, made an app, and that was in around 2015. And then it's basically grown from there. And we've obviously moved on from the spreadsheet, and now we have a pretty complicated server set up with data flying backwards and forwards between the networks, and plus we've got a team of data assistants who are looking at it, all the new data that comes in. So it's now become quite a sophisticated operation, but it started as a spreadsheet. And when we first did Zap Map, the number that sticks in my head is 752. I can't even remember if it's connectors or chargers, but I think it's actual devices. So we've gone from 752 to 18,000 in the last 8 years, and it shows how much the charging network's really been growing over that time.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I mean, what kind of what size kind of company is Zap Map? I mean, obviously, you seem to like you started quite almost, I don't want to say humble beginnings, but quite like you said, quite on a spreadsheet essentially, and to where it is now. So where are you now in terms of numbers?
Well, we sort of grew Zap Map. It was funded via the advertising revenue we got from Next Green Car, and then we realised that there was such a big demand. There were so many features we wanted to add to Zap Map, and we got there were 6 of us running these 2 websites, and then we realized we needed a cash injection, so we went out and looked for investment, and pretty much this time last year we got investment from Good Energy, which is a great 100% renewable energy company, and that's been a really great fit for us because they really share our values. They're very mission driven like we are, so they're supporting us in terms of giving us resource to grow to the next level. So 6 people last year, now we're 12, and we were planning to be 18 this year, but coronavirus has sort of put a number of plans on hold. But at the moment, 12 people, we're happy with that. And half developers, half more on the sort of business planning side, and it's working well.
Wow, fantastic. I mean, that's substantial growth, isn't it? And in that amount of time as well. So that's brilliant. We have a few comments in the comments section. We'll go through a few probably different bits first, and then we'll come back to those. So anyone that's watching, please keep the comments coming, and we'll get to those shortly. So we kind of briefly touched on in the beginning of kind of why Zap Map is essential, essentially for me. I mean, I along with a few other apps, I suppose it was frustrating when I first started because there was multiple things that you had to use. I think it's got easier now.
Yeah.
Why, if you're a brand new user, why is this why is this almost like the handbook for EVs? Like with EVs, I found that the car is great. It's quite simple generally. It does what it says on the tin, and it seems like the apps now are almost like the essential handbook that kind of comes with or should come with an EV that says, right, you bought an EV, download all these apps.
Exactly.
Why is Zap Map? If I was Joe Bloggs, like coming up to you and I'd never heard about an electric car or Zap Map, why is this important?
I mean, our feeling is, having dealt with both the car side and the charging side, is that in a way rather like you said, an electric car, a car is a car. An electric car isn't really much different from a petrol or diesel car, except you talk about range instead of MPG or something like that. And obviously better, much better in many ways. Love electric cars, but often dealers or all people who are dealing with cars, they're very confident about the cars, but when it comes to charging, it's a whole new area for them, and they're just not really very confident. So I know when we've done sort of mystery shopping in dealerships, people just go, oh yeah, there's thousands of chargers out there, and that's about as far as they go. Or they go, yeah, you can rapid charge in 30 minutes. And I think what we're trying to do with Zap Map, and what we've created, so we've got the app, which is the public chargers, but we've also created a website. And what we're trying to do on that is just talk people through the sort of key issues with charging. So for example, we've got a section there on for every electric car, charging your Nissan Leaf, or charging your BMW i3, or charging your Kona. And it's not a review of the car, but it's a review of the charging car.
Right.
Tell you, you can charge, your car can rapid charge, tick. You've got a CCS connector. This looks like this. You need to look for these types of chargers, and all the types of things that once you are an EV driver, a couple of months in, it's obvious to you. But at the very beginning, I remember when I first went to charge my electric car, I came to a rapid charger and I had no idea. I just literally didn't know what to do, and I was confused. There's all these different cables. So what we're trying to do is help people through that a bit, just that shift from buying the car to getting out there on the public network. And then once you're a bit more confident with that, then the app is there to give you confidence to go on longer journeys. Because again, I've spoken to lots of EV drivers who've had an EV for 6 months and they haven't actually ventured out further. They just charge at home, and they've never actually tried the public network. So what we're about is saying, you can have confidence. We want to give you confidence. We want to save you time. Use our app. Research these charge points, you'll be fine. This is how you pay. This is the connectors. Look at all these user comments. Give it a go. And and that's what I'd say to new EV drivers out there. Why not just go out on a, not a huge trip, but a 40-mile trip, find a charger and just have a practice when it's not totally essential. You don't want to be turtle moving down to because that can, us experienced EV drivers have I'm not often, a couple of times I've almost run out of charge, and it's quite tense. So it's better to do your first public charge when you're not super tense.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Like I said, like when I first started, mine was very much I bought the EV and then worked out everything else afterwards. And it was I still to this day don't have any way to charge at home. I charge completely on public and work. And the apps kind of came from going out there and trying to research other YouTubers and things like that. So having something like this where, like I said, it's almost like that handbook that says, right, you got an EV, have Zap Map, go out into the world and try it, and see what happens. Brilliant. So before we get onto the questions, and I do want to get into some of those, what's next for Zap Map? So obviously you've been expanding for some time. I've seen various updates over the course of the couple of years that I've had it. What's the next thing? Where do you see taking Zap Map?
Yeah, our vision or our mission is to make public EV charging simple for EV drivers. So that's always what our mission is. And as I alluded to before, all our lovely users, we get a lot of feedback from users about features people want and where they want the direction they want it to go in, which is great. And we're now on version 5 of the app. So we released version 5, I think, in about March this year, which was sort of an upgraded look, better check-in, better this location rating, sort of lots of sort of little features all added together to make it an easier experience. Now where we're focusing, we've got three areas. One is something that people are always asking us, and we desperately want to do, is a CarPlay Auto Android version of Zap Map. So for those people who don't know, it's the Google browser or the Apple browser. Increasingly, electric cars have those in your car, so it would be about mirroring Zap Map within the car, and then you'd be controlling it through voice command, and it'd be a sort of a simplified version of Zap Map because you can't obviously have all the different filters. But so that's something we've been doing a lot of design work on that. It's not quite as easy as it's actually not that easy to release that because Google and Apple aren't necessarily ready to have this type of app on their browser. But in terms of development, that's the direction we definitely would love to have, a sort of in-car application. Secondly, we're working on a number of insights projects. So that's about using a lot of we've got this amazing database of charge points, and it's not so useful to EV drivers, but for those sort of broadly in the industry, to help people plan where do they deploy chargers, helping people planning the grid, where do dealerships push most of their EV product, etc., etc. So it's about trying to deliver our data in a way that's useful to third parties so that they can plan, and it's all about sort of supporting that electric e-mobility ecosystem, so that all these companies are coming on and becoming EV ready, and that that will definitely help the uptake. And then the third area is where we are, which is our big strategic push, is we're addressing this whole issue of lots of cards, lots of apps, lots of payments, ways of paying, and we're I can't say too much about it, but that's our sort of big focus to try and solve that. We've got 100,000 registered users. People love using us to sort of find charge points, plan their routes, communicate with other EV drivers. Why not pay as well? So that's sort of our next direction, and I think sort of watch this space on that. So in the next couple of months, you'll see a big announcement on that.
Wow, no, fantastic news. I mean, certainly there seems to be some interest in the chat around the Android and the Apple connection as well. So it's good to see as well that it doesn't just stop. People often find apps, they get to a certain point and they go, right, I've done that bit, and then they don't stop. But because the EV world doesn't stop, then the apps can't really. There's always an opportunity to move it forward. So that's fantastic news.
I mean, we've got lots. The ideas aren't the issue. It's sort of getting everything implemented and out in the market, which is it's challenging but fun. I mean, we love doing that. We love it. So
brilliant, fantastic. Okay, so I think then we'll have a look down the chat. So thank you everyone that's currently with us at the moment. Casey Talks EV, my favourite map app. Always swear by it. So that's good feedback indeed. Southwest EV Groups. Hi guys. Hi, with current and future car charging speeds changing all the time, how do you intend to deal with all the additional filters? I'm also speaking regarding up to 100 kilowatt charging speeds for the CHAdeMO, for the 62 kilowatt Leaf, etc.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, all those filters we've already got on Zap Map the filter, so you can filter by CHAdeMO 100, CHAdeMO 150, or CCS 100, CCS 350. They are all on there. We are actually going to be doing a bit of work, sort of redesigning the filter so you can select speed first. So you can, for example, select anything over 100, or that type of thing. But yeah, I'd be interested. We're pondering the idea of whether we should have a different color for the ultra rapids, as we call them, versus the rapids. So any feedback on that, welcome, or whether there's enough color already, because it's quite colorful. So we've sort of been thinking about, should we have something different for ultra rapids? So
is that in terms of naming convention and things like that, with like when it comes to like rapids and ultra rapids and things like that, is there, when you go out to some of these excuse me, these charging companies, have they all got different naming conventions for it, or are they very much across the board using the same kind of language, I suppose?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a bit of confusion in the market, because I know that, for example, Polar have an ultra charger, but it isn't necessarily charging at what I would call ultra rapid speeds. But then you look at other networks, they do talk about over 100 kilowatts to be ultra.
Yeah. What comes next when it gets to like 300?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, then yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe then there will be no more 50 kilowatts. They'll all be 350. So that, the future is constantly evolving. But at the moment, we're calling them rapids and ultra rapids, just to sort of distinguish.
Right. Yeah. Graham Horn, hi from Kendall, finds Zap Map very useful. So that's good. Thank you, Graham. I think so. Android Auto version would be great. So yeah, I know Rob from RS thinks he's a big Android person, so that'd be good. I'm going to try and get this guy's name right. Tugrul. Apologies if I've got that wrong. Hi, I find Zap Map very useful. Thanks for organising this useful talk. I'm wondering if the route planner in Zap Map take elevation into account.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because we have elevation is in there, but we sort of toned it down a little bit as a factor, because it seemed to be too strong. So I think we're still doing a bit of we're fine. I think the what we can say is we're fine tuning the elevation factor within the route planner. So it's sort of there, but when we've done tests, it probably hasn't been applied as strongly as it could be. So that's another area which we're constantly looking at, is how do we refine the route planner. We did a lot of work on that in 2018. So we've sort of paused on that, but we've got other ideas of adding in other factors. For example, temperature's not in there, and we all know that temperatures are big impact on range. So that's something else we're thinking of adding in, and re-looking at the elevation, I think. So excellent. Yeah.
Brilliant. Another one from Graham, learning how to charge and where to charge should be something that salesperson should demonstrate. We all forget new ice drivers have to learn how to fill up, which fuel they need. Yeah, I completely agree. I think certainly from my experience, whilst the salesman was very good, and I went out for a drive in it and I loved the car, it was very much a car. Apart from some of the research I'd done, I didn't know where I was going to charge. I didn't know how many apps were out there. I didn't know at the time how many different payment methods, for instance, that you had to deal with at the time. Luckily, it seems to be stabilizing around contactless and things like that now, which is fantastic. But yeah, 100%. When you go in to buy a car like that, you should first and foremost get a test drive, because driving an EV is, to be honest, what sells most of the time. You should be told about the standard apps like Zap Map and others, what charging cables that you need or what should come with it, and how you physically charge it. The good thing is that the Milton Keynes EV Centre does is that they take people out and they physically show them how to charge and what to use and things like that. So things like that are perfect. So yeah, 100% agree with that.
Yeah, we need one of those Milton Keynes centres in every city, don't we? Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love, or at least a few up and down the country. It's a shame it's only in Milton Keynes. So Rob from iThinks has got, what do you drive, Melanie?
What do I drive? I drive a 30 kilowatt hour lovely red Leaf.
Excellent. Brilliant. I do like the Leafs. I like, to be honest, I like the old ones as well as the new ones. I just think they were generally reliable sort of EVs, so that's cool. And last one on here, Southwest EV Owners Group again. Ultra rapid color change would be useful for a start. Well done, Zap Map. So excellent.
Cool.
That's good. Okay. So that kind of wraps up our little chat with Melanie. Thank you so much for joining the channel. It's been really good and really useful and very interesting. Hope everyone else out there enjoyed this and enjoyed the channel and what we've done today. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, share it everywhere. Do all the normal good stuff that you guys do. So I suppose, Melanie, anything that the guys out there need to be useful for, anything around you'd like to kind of end on, really?
Yeah, I mean, I just say that, I think if you're thinking of getting an EV and you're sort of worried about the charging, go on to Zap Map on the on the desktop. You don't even need to download the app. Just go and have a look at where you live. Just go and put your EV in. You can see all the compatible chargers, and just maybe look at a couple of journeys you typically do and see how that would work for you. Because I think when people actually, not every area has got amazing coverage, but all the main arteries have got really good coverage of rapid chargers. I think you'd be surprised if you don't know at the moment. And and also have a look at the charging guides, just to give you a little bit more confidence that actually it's not that difficult, and go for it. Test drive an EV and get one, and then have a try at public charging.
Absolutely, yeah. They're not as scary as what they used to be, and there's a lot of infrastructure out there, regardless of what the Daily Fail and people like that
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Melanie. I appreciate your time, and
No problem.
thank you everyone for watching.
Okay, thanks. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we'll just end the broadcast.